Go is on. That means I'm alive and well. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if anyone is in the building. I guess I'll get to see if anyone is in the building. Uh, yes. Good welcome. Good afternoon. My name is Cooley Ranks. I'm your host of the Car Sessions, and today is Wednesday, July. God knows when, but it's a day. Welcome anyone that's in the building. I can't see you yet. I'm gonna try and see you. Let me see what I'm doing because I'm doing the Zoom now, so this is all not something that I know. I see. Oh, on the screen says 5 people are here. 5 people. What's up? I'm gonna go on my front page and see if I see you. But I would like to say today is a special day. We have a special guest in the house, and he's hanging around. He's just cleaning up some of the mess he made. He has a few bodies there, so once he cleans up the bodies, then he'll come out. But let me see if anyone is there. I'm gonna spin a couple of tunes in the meantime. I don't know. Again, I can't see who's there. Oh, happy anniversary, Dave Hahn and his wife. I'm scrolling through Facebook. This is what I see. Happy anniversary, Dave. Johnny Bravo says, "Hey, come check out Cooley Ranks." All right, let me see if I can find Cooley Ranks. In the meantime, let's play a couple of tunes here, and we'll get to the special guest. And let's go into some Neville Staples. How about that? Nice and easy. Nice and easy. Inside the voice of Neville Staples, the Neville Staples Band. Sugar, big up yourself. Well, I'm not going to deceive you, people. I'm not going to trick you. I have some good news. I just have some good news. Fucking Juan's in the goddamn building. Let Juan in the building! Let him come in! Let him know! He's in the building! He's here! He's here!
Hello.
The Latin heartthrob is in the building, people. Did you see that one?
You are on record as being the only human being who has ever referred to me in that way. So you're the first. I will.
Listen. When I put it on there, Agent J said, "Yep, Latin heartthrob."
I have a number of close friends that I grew up with that turned quite a side eye at that. They're like, how much did you wire money for him to write that for you?
Oh, it was on credit, man. It was on credit.
Absolutely. I'm paying it forward now.
Well, you definitely are, man. Thank you for coming here today in the car sessions, man. That's love, man.
I'll tell you what, and I'm being very serious. For somebody who has, apparently Dandy Livingston and Neville Staples on speed dial, this is a very illustrious group of people that you've invited me to speak with you, and I'm pretty honored. And when you sent out the message to me, I very much appreciate it. I don't know how much more interesting I can be than legends like that, but I appreciate time speaking with you. I miss seeing you around New York when I lived there, and it's good to be here. Good to be here. It's good to feel you, man.
Dude, I appreciate you, man. And you are in that company, what you just mentioned. You wouldn't be here. Anyone that comes here is a friend. So that's the company that's coming in here.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you.
Absolutely, man. It's I see you, and I see when I see you, I nostalgia pang for New York. But by the way, if you see John Point, John Pinto, tell him, John, you are absolutely correct. California is beautiful and it's the most perfect place in the world.
He may jump in here. He's online. he comes in sometimes, he really does.
Absolutely.
So you left from New York. Hold on. Let me just get the story right.
Sorry, you go ahead.
While you was here in New York City, I knew you as a bass player.
Yeah.
When I met you, you were a ska kid.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, we're gonna wheel it back.
Okay,
wheel it. Now, the time that you met me that you remember is probably a much later date than when I first met you. Okay. And I'll tell you what, what I have to do, they'll never forgive me, these friends that I grew up with. I have to big up a couple of people that I grew up with in Altamont Springs, Florida, and Orlando, where I'm from. The men like Chad Rogers, Dave Rago, Alan Roberts, Ricardo Lugo, because we first met you when the Pilfers toured with Spring Heel Jack at the Social, at the Sapphire Supper Club, as it was known in Orlando, Florida.
Yeah.
Back in the late 90s. And I remember, so dig this. This was my first, I had been a huge fan of the Toasters. And I still think that Dub 56, I think, is generally remembered as one of the best albums that come out of the American third wave ska revival era, whatever you'd like to call it, of that era. And the musicianship on that album is fantastic. And you have such a great place in that album. And we all loved it. So when you started playing with the Pilfers, we were all, fanatically trying to understand what kind of musical direction was going to be. And then we started hearing the tunes come out. And we had to see you. So when you guys passed through, and it was with Spring Hill Jack, I think I remember exactly. I remember we were at the front of the stage. Sapphire Supper Club is not a big club. And we were there and we were excited. We couldn't believe it. We wanted to see Cooley Ranks' new band with Vinnie Noble from Bim Scott and everything. It was like a super group. You guys had assembled like a super group of people. And the band was on stage and the vibe was heavy and it was aggressive. And they started running a rhythm, but you weren't there on stage. And my first impression of you is that you leapt like 6 feet over the head from a divider, a people divider. You understand there's a lower place where there's a dance floor and then there's higher, and you leapt over. You were wearing the classic red and white, like Nick style jersey with the 212. I remember exactly. And I think this is when you had blonde hair. And it exploded. And I remember, I still remember that concert to this day. And all my friends, everybody that I just mentioned, that was one of the definitive concerts of that time for us. And we loved it. And afterwards we met you. Of course, everybody came up and, hey, how you doing? Da, da, da. Thanks for coming to Orlando, growing up in Florida, we always got overlooked. You know, people go to obviously Miami or you go to Tampa or anything like that. So the people that really enjoyed this music really appreciated when bands from New York would come through Central Florida because we didn't get the chance to do that as much, you know, to see you. So
I gotta stop you. I gotta really stop you. The interview is about you.
Nah, man.
I'm humbled. I'm humbled, and I'm like, you just turned the damn camera around, bruh. You are the star. Thank you so much. Thank you. Because I don't remember that, but I'm glad I did something right in life.
You know what? You know what? It does actually. It doesn't matter because I think sometimes our actions, even if we're not aware of them at the time, they have ripple effects on people around us. You know.
Yeah.
So I just say that to just know that that it was a very good time. It was a time that I remember, and that actually gave me a lot of impetus to when I was deciding on where I was going to go after graduate school, where I was going to pursue acting, and I went to New York first. You know, a part of the excitement of going to New York was kind of arriving at this place that I had always kind of known in my consciousness as a place where there were a lot of the art that I enjoyed or a lot of the music that I enjoyed growing up was the epicenter of it. And that provided such an excitement of it. You know what I mean? I was as much, if I bumped into you or if I bumped into any of the other myriad musicians that I had listened to when I was 15, the record, you know what I mean? Half of the excitement of being there was not just getting to know people as people, but to be a fan, to be a kid that kind of unabashedly was excited to be there, just happy to be there.
Dude, you're an amazing human being.
But that's true. I'm being true.
I'm humbled. I'm so humbled. I'm humbled.
Likewise, man.
Now let's talk about your acting career. Let's get into your acting career because I'm sure. Oh, there's a young lady there. Her name is Monica. She said to tell you she loves you. She's half Cuban, so she's on here. She's there. And she loves you. So shout out to Monica. Isabella's in the building. Tobin is in the building. Cancellation. Nah, I'm not canceling. Who else do we have in the building here? But these are I'm seeing some of the comments. So let me shout out some of the people that are watching you. So yeah, dude. So you left. Yeah. You came to New York, and what did you do? Because here's my introduction, my memory.
Yeah.
I'm showing you an apartment. You had a Ska T-shirt. I said, "Oh, this dude likes Ska. Maybe I can get the apartment." I was like, so you listen to Ska, huh? He's like, yeah. I said, well, I'm in a Ska band too, you know. He said, oh yeah, what's Ska band? I said, oh, my band is called Pilfers. He said, dude, you're Cooley Rex. I was like, yeah. You came in my office. My office has no idea who I am either, right?
Yeah.
Yo, you got a star working for you. My office is like, oh yeah, where? So thank you for lighting up my office life. You know what I mean? Thank you.
I remember the guy. I remember it was in Brooklyn, and I don't exactly remember which neighborhood, but it was when I first arrived there. I was with a good friend of mine. He's an actor. He's in Chicago now, but at the time I studied with him at the University of Florida. Very esteemed actor named J. Salome Martinez Jr., a good friend of mine for many years. He was on HBO and he was a working actor for a long time. He's in Chicago now, but we were trying to find a place to be. We had moved to New York kind of roughly around the same time. And I remember that the second that I go, are you Cooley Ranks? Are you Cooley Ranks? My buddy, my man Salome had his camera out like a phone going. Oh, but that's a very I'm telling you this, like that's a very cool kind of example. That is a city as big as it is, as large as it is, New York. I would find all the time crazy occurrences like that. The world is not that big, you know, and the city is not that big. I can't remember how many times you bump into people randomly that you hadn't seen in 5 years at the subway because you happen to take the same stop at that same time, you know. And speaking about the way that we're connected through music and through the scene of the ska scene in New York or the ska reggae scene in New York, however you want to say it, that's an even smaller world, you know. And it's crazy. That was the first time that I think we really started talking, is when you're showing me an apartment. So yeah. To live. I do feel bad that I didn't take that apartment.
It's okay. They have more respect for me now.
Nah.
I walk in there, they respect me a little bit. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know,
So what
when
was your? Go on.
No. But I've had the same thing. You know, like my wife, my amazing wife is like a free publicist. Anytime that when I came out to LA and I got a job clerking at a law office or working at a warehouse or something like that. Anytime my wife's around, she's like, you know, have you seen The Walking Dead? Have you seen The Walking Dead? You should know The Walking Dead. It's just like it's free publicity. I get the same response from my coworkers, like, huh? All right, turn it in at 5. I don't know. What do you want?
What was your first gig in New York City? Because I read your bio. You went to college in Miami. You studied to be an actor. When did you first know you was going to be an actor? And what was your first job? Not New York, first acting job ever.
Quick correction. I did not study in Miami, but I studied in
Florida. Yeah, sorry.
Florida. Oh, it doesn't matter. I studied in University of Florida and the Florida State University.
Yeah. Okay.
So what happened was is that I was graduating. You know, I did. I ramble so much, so I'm going to try to truncate the story. So growing up, growing up, I was always kind of involved in the arts in different modes of the arts. I grew up. My mother and my father are very artistically inclined. They're visual artists. That's not what they did for a living, but they grew up appreciating art and specifically visual art. So I was an artist doing visual art since I was a young kid. I was kind of on the track of that to go into kind of like graphic design and things like that. Around the time that I kind of became a teenager, I started getting involved in performing arts. So performing arts, you know, dance and acting and music. And where I went to high school, you had avenues to pursue all these kind of things. So I did jazz band. I did jazz band in classical music where I studied double bass and electric bass. And I kind of had that outlet. But then I always did theater plays. And I loved them and I love doing those kind of outlets. Maybe they're a bit more enjoyable than art because visual art, like writing, is a very solitary art, right? Mm. So you're by yourself, you're creating the art, with yourself, and it can be really, really benefiting and really great to have total control over it. However, performing arts is like a team sport. I was not the most, athletic sports kid growing up. But doing stuff like theater, when you put on a play and you're in a cast of about 10 people, and then you have, of course, the director, and you have the orchestra playing the music, and you have the lighting designers, and you have all the stagehands, it elicits a team mentality. You're all putting on together a show. Same way with music. Everybody, all the different musicians and all the different chairs, you have to work in cohesion. So it builds really good, group work ethic and stuff like that, working together for a common goal, right? So that was always very fun. But I had these 3 kind of pathways of things that I loved very much, and I didn't know where to do or where to go. But I knew I wanted to be involved in something creative. And so when I graduated high school, I had friends that, of course, were much more structured, and they were going to schools in the Northeast. They were going to, Brown or Vassar or anything like that for very specific STEM majors and things like that. I didn't know what I wanted to do. In Florida, when that happens, you'll go to the state school. You go to the University of Florida. And so if you don't know what you want to do and you want to try a little bit of everything, that's what you do. And I remember I took an acting class in my first freshman year. And it was the most fun I'd had. Different schools, different programs for the arts are run differently. So some people have different experiences, whether it's positive or negative, at different educational learning institutions. The music program, what I found there, I didn't feel as creative, or I didn't feel as collaborative, like in the learning process. I didn't get that vibe from the teachers that it was a bit more dogmatic and a bit more strict. The way we think of Russian music schools, very regimented. At that point, graphic design kind of fell by the wayside, and so theater, like I said, theater was like a great big family atmosphere. You get down and dirty, you get into scene work. You get to play, you get to. What you get to do is you try to shake off all the feelings that you hold your whole life of saying, like, I don't want to do that. I feel stupid. Theater and acting is play, right?
Yeah, so yes, absolutely.
We're very lucky because you've done acting. So we're very lucky that we get to get paid for it and, pay our taxes with it.
Yeah.
But essentially it's little kid things, you're pretending, exactly. Right? and when you get to be older, you know, the one thing that people fear so much more than even physical harm is public speaking or being made to feel a fool. Nobody wants to feel like that. So theater at the University of Florida, where I studied, immediately broke that down, and it was a free and open space that, yeah, take risks and try characters and try to transform yourself. And everybody's here to support you. You're not stupid. Have fun with it, you know? And I met the best friends there that I still know to this day. And I felt like I worked really hard at it. And I felt like I had an affinity for it. And I kept with it. I dedicated more hours than anything else I had done at the university. And that brought me to graduate school, where it's kind of like graduate school for acting. Graduate school, what I mean is conservatory training. So I went from a school of 60,000 people, you know, that's in general, 60,000 people at the University of Florida, to a very small conservatory setting where I had, at the end of my 3 years in conservatory training, I had 7 classmates.
Oh, wow.
So it's this intense kind of bubble that you exist in. And all it is steel sharpening steel. You do repertory theater where you're taxed kind of physically, and your skills are kind of taxed, because what you do is you have a season of theater where you put on a different play depending on the day of the week. So you have to be responsible for understanding and knowing the text and the character of 3 different performances, 3 different characters that you do. On Monday, you'll do The Importance of Being Earnest, and then on Tuesday, you'll do a Greek play, and then on Wednesday, you'll do Hamlet, and it returns again. So you have to switch back and forth, you know? And that I think, that and what I did, the training at the University of Florida, it instilled kind of a work ethic. And something that I've always pushed back on is that, you know, I'm like anybody else. I'll roll my eyes and I'll make jokes about, you know, about the artist's life, and I have a good sense of humor about artists. But what I do push back on is that, at least in the circle of professionals, acting professionals that I know, and people that I know in the film industry and the television industry, the people that I consider my friends are some of the hardest working people that I know. And they're incredibly disciplined. And within the culture that I live in the industry of film and television, that kind of the lunacy or the kind of, laziness or the slack kind of actors, you know, people that kind of operate like that, it's not respected and it's not tolerated. So I think maybe that comes from, you know, my background in theater training, that you are part of a lineage of serious tradesmen, that this is a skill that you do. It's not magic. You know, you work very hard at it, and you're supposed to conduct yourself with a modicum of respect and hard work, and not to fool around so much. So, you know, I love all those crazy stories too, about those Hollywood stories about people going nuts on set and disrupting production. Hey, that's great. You know, Apocalypse Now almost, you know, the movie almost shut down because people were insane and everybody was dropping acid. But that's not my story. That's not my experience. You know.
So is Hollywood treating you well?
I like it. I like the industry very much. You know what it is that I think I like California, you know, and I like Los Angeles. And I know that puts me in like a limited scope sometimes, especially some people in New York that want to, you know, the reason I say that is because LA and the Hollywood industry out in Los Angeles can get, there's certain stereotypes about it. And some of it's I've touched upon. There's a lot of kind of like, you know, what we think of like Hollywood excess in the TV and film industry, the kind of cloisteredness of the star system and television and film. But once you get out here, and if you are serious and you are a working professional, you realize how much work it takes to produce the work that's out there. And that the vast majority of people are very intelligent, astute, creative people that work extremely long hours, and under extremely hard conditions to produce the amount of content and the amount of entertainment that we all digest, you know. And those eras of, especially now, especially in the last couple of years, those notions of kind of like, you know, of kind of abuse and kind of craziness. My experience is that it was never looked positively on. It's not tolerated, you know, people messing around, you know. It also depends on the work, on the projects that you get involved in. And I've been very lucky that the work that I've done, starting I did work in New York in television and film in New York, but it's a smaller industry, but it's there obviously. But I've been lucky that the projects that I've been doing here in Los Angeles, people were doing them all for the right reasons. They were projects that creatively I was 100% on page for, that I enjoyed the content of it and I enjoyed the people, and I've had really good experiences. I've had experiences that in many ways were better than certain experiences I had doing professional theater on the East Coast. Honestly, yeah, and because it depends on the project, you know. It depends on the material, you know. Yeah. So if you pursue projects that you can tell are serious and are good projects, you know, of quality, if you pursue that, the people involved in that are going to be quality people, you know.
So you have a new project now that you said you was going to be doing. That's a new independent film. What's that about? Is it done? Is it in the works or?
It's in the works. Everything's in pre-production, obviously, because of what's happening right now with the virus. You know, the industry has kind of come to a grinding halt, and right now, people within the industry, people through, you know, the union and the performers unions and the producing companies and the studios are trying to come to the table and understand kind of what's the best way to move forward, mitigating as much risk as they can, but not letting the industry fall apart, because like I said, there's so many people, especially in Southern California, that this is their life, and the economy, the local economy really needs the entertainment industry out here. You know, it's such an export of what we do. Okay, so what that means is that with the absence of the greater industry kind of working, it's really forced performers, writers, you know, indie producers to do things like what you're doing, like creatively thinking outside of the box of what they can do. So I know a lot of people, for instance, I know screenwriters that are working screenwriters in Los Angeles, and what are they doing? They're doing stuff like what you're doing. Well, let me do a podcast. Let me try to go into self-publishing. So people are kind of going back to the indie level to try to keep busy, to kind of develop different revenue streams. So a big thing that me and my wife Mishka is a writer, is a writer. She's a screenwriter. She was an actress. That's how I met her in grad school, and she was a really wonderful, incredible actress. But when she came out to Los Angeles, she fell in love with the production side of things, whereas I stayed a performer. So she's a screenwriter that's been writing a lot of pilots, television treatments, and things like that, and indie films. So what we always wanted to do is kind of the same way that, like in the 80s, a lot of indie bands or post-hardcore bands, what do they do in punk rock? You know, like you go, okay, well, if we're not being produced by the major labels, let's start our own labels. Let's start our own record companies. Now people in acting and a lot of performers, writers, directors, content creators are doing the same thing. Well, let's try to do a production company. Me and my wife have been wanting to do a production company now for 10 years. It's something that's been in the back, in the ether, and we never had the impetus to do it. But when the bottom drops out, it pushes you to really be resilient and to try to say, okay, so what can we do for us? And so we are in pre-production right now. My wife developed a script of a small indie work with small cast, working with actors that we really care about, that we really want to work with. And so writing stuff for them that really shows their talents and creating characters that are really wonderful for them and will really give them opportunities to stretch them out.
What are you doing?
Oh, this is my daughter. This is Cooley Ranks. He's in New York. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Are you the 5-year-old or she's the 3-year-old?
Yeah.
She's the 3-year-old or the 5-year-old?
Oh, hold on, baby. Hold on 1 second. What?
Is she the 3-year-old or the 5-year-old?
This is the 5-year-old.
So let me see if she can. What kind of shirt I can get her? Let me see. You see?
Yes. You always pay for it. Very paying for it.
I'm ready, man.
You'll add to the spoiling that I already do. I can't help it.
Listen. Johnny comes on with a pilfers. He comes on with a pilfers thing. I'm like, what? Hold on. I don't have one. Well, the kids must have one too. Juan, you're gonna get one just for coming on the show.
What else are we gonna do? What else do you do with your children? What else can you do with your children than love them so much? Too much.
Love them, man. Love them. That's it.
Absolutely.
Guide them.
Yeah.
To them. You know.
Absolutely.
Try to warn them from what the dangers are out there, and let them go.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the hardest. That's a very hard thing.
Yeah.
And my kids are not, my kids are.
John Pinto was on here saying, "Sexy ass motherfucker." He says, "Ex-Lord." He said, "Oh shit, my brother for life." Hold on. So he's on here. What's up, John? I'm sorry. I just looked down on the computer, brother. I just looked down on the computer. Enough love.
Tell him, come out. Tell John, you have to come out. Open a raw juice bar in Santa Monica. I know you would love it. You would love that.
And he can go fishing out there too. Just you can go in the beach.
There's very, very good fishing. Very, very good fishing. I remember. I'll tell you a good John Pinto story. So my wife is from Southern California. She's from south of LA, from South Orange County, almost San Diego County, and it's the most beautiful piece of coastline you can imagine, because you've been out in California. You know what California is like. Gorgeous, right? I remember when I made the decision that I was moving out to California, I was going around and we were going to a couple of shows and seeing the crew, seeing everybody in the scene, and she met John Pinto. She'd met John Pinto a couple times. But John Pinto is an elemental force that if you do not know John Pinto, you have to psychologically prepare yourself. And she was meeting a couple of people from the scene that she hadn't met before, and she met John. And I go, so John, I'm going to Los Angeles, so I'm moving out to California. And and I go, oh, this is Mishka. She's from California. And she goes, Hi, John. Nice to meet you. And she goes, yeah, I'm so excited. Juan's going to come out to California. It's going to be wonderful. And John Pinto, he's never met her before. And he's like 9 feet tall, And he goes, let me tell you something. He's like, California sucks. Sucks for living there. You know what, man? Why don't you just get the hell out of here? I was like, well, that's how John tells you that he really cares for you and he wishes the best. No, I miss. I'll tell you one thing. Listen, the reality is that I think what a little bit happens when we grow older, and this might not be your experience, but this was the experience in my case. When we're growing up, our environs where we live, we want to escape it as much as possible, right? We feel trapped in by it. We feel like where I grew up in Central Florida. When I was growing up, Orlando, Central Florida, it was always seen as very provincial. You would be looking towards Miami as the big cities on the hill where there was excitement, where there was culture. And then we're here kind of in the sticks, even though that's not what the city was, but that's what you felt, right? So all you want to do is you want to escape, move out. So what do you want to do? You want to go to New York. Why? Because New York was everything different than New York. It's a concrete jungle. It's, it's the Velvet Underground. It's the basement, bashment parties, it's houses with basements. It's the New York skyline. It's Leonard Bernstein. It's brick. It's the old carriage roads in Wall Street. It's seeing the Staten Island Fair. It's all that, right?
Yeah.
And then I get older, and I realize that I'm like a subtropical rat. My body does not acclimate to cold weather. I was miserable in the winters, And what you do when you get a little bit older is you pine for a kind of a normalcy of a recognition of places where you come from, And so I love California. Why do I love California? Well, it's warm all year. I grow up. Where do I live? I live in quiet, kind of like a suburban road on a little street with my neighbors that I talk to. I drive. I listen. I spend every day sitting in traffic going to the beach with my kids. It's basically living in Florida. But I have to because the industry is out here. So you start to appreciate, you know what I mean? You start to appreciate kind of like what you had, and you look at it in different eyes as you get older, and you go, you know what? It wasn't such a suffocating hell.
Yeah. So you told me to watch the time.
Yes, I can. No, I'm good.
So you got 30 minutes. This is going to be the different segment now. We're going to change it. We're going to change the flow.
Flip it up.
Now you said you was going to test me on some tracks. So let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay. Okay. So I throw some names?
Yeah. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. This part of the segment of the car sessions, my man here is gonna select a few tunes,
All right.
and we hope you enjoy these tunes. Let me see if I have the tunes.
Let's see if you got them.
It's a test, and by the way, I have ultimate Wi-Fi right now, so let's go. Let me see what I can do with you right now.
All right, now this is an artist. This is an artist that I don't know much about, and sometimes even people in New York, where I know he's based out of, they might not know. But do you know him? The man like Kari Kill?
No.
He's a Trinidadian.
You got me now.
Roots kind of dance hall. And I heard this track back when I lived in New York, back in like 2000. What is that? 2011, 2012.
You know the name of the track?
Picture of Selassie. It's
hold on. I got it right here.
Picture of Selassie off the Truth and Rights rhythm. It's murderous.
Hold on. You said you was gonna test, so let's see what you can test. Let's see. You're gonna go with this one, right?
I think you
across the country and around the world, we're staying home for the greater good.
Hold on a second. 1 second. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get this young man here. What is it? Picture of Selassie, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what we can do.
Good video. It's when the Truth and Rights rhythm was going around, and like Richie Spice did a version of it. I think it was.
Inside the car session, Kari Kill.
It is good that you have taken this picture of me in my palace garden.
I got you.
So it can be known unto the entire world, even with a just cause David still stood alive. Show them a picture of Selassie. Then I tell them to protect the life. You know see him an ancient monarchy. With me got a full suit made from khaki. Don't really get to win of country.
He's gonna get the wheel. He's gonna get the wheel.
The purpose of life.
Bless you.
It is good that you have taken this picture of me in my palace garden in Addis Ababa. So it can be known unto the entire world, even with a just cause David still stood alive. Show them a picture of Selassie. Then I tell them to protect the life. You know see him an ancient monarchy. With me dagger full suit made from khaki. Down in the ghetto with no gunshot tabaki. And the rum shop cheaper than Ital market. Babylon a pass, go make me mass it. Turn up the bass and the treble literated. Penetrate straight through the cool hearted. Knowledge is a must, oh yes I'll blast it. So tell me what the rest you're asking. How I survive and surpass this. Ethiopia where the age should be protected. The needy never neglected. And Selassie I always reflected. I tell them about David and Goliath. You tell them get quiet, Babylon say me start a riot. Show them a picture of Selassie. Then I tell them to protect the life.
Give me another one now. Let's go. What else you got? What else you got?
In the same vein, from that same kind of era, Turbulence.
Okay. Turbulence.
Never knew.
Never knew. Turbulence.
Never knew.
Turbulence. You might get me there.
Oh, okay.
No. Turbulence.
I love Turbulence. Turbulence had another tune that was popular at the time.
And he has Notorious.
Notorious is amazing.
Notorious. Oh. Yes. Oh, I got Turbulence. I got Turbulence. Don't worry.
Turbulence.
I told you I have Wi-Fi now, so Wi-Fi is not stopping me. I got everything you try to pull out. I got you.
I want to know. But the only from the tribe of Shaka Zulu, yeah. Alright. As if you never knew, I would be burning you so. No matter what you do, I'll keep on burning you true. As if you never knew, I would be burning you so. No matter what you do, yeah. Then the whole poor dead, new poor come quick. The
another one. Give me another one. What you got?
Just because I'm scrolling nowadays, it's not like it's not like a record. Hold up, I'm scrolling through my. I'm scrolling through. You got it. Look, this is everybody knows this tune. Cuddy Ranks, Who Say Me Done.
All right. Cuddy Ranks.
Cuddy Ranks, Who Say Me Done. This is if you want to explode the roof off your house. This is one of the most forceful vocal performances that I love, and angry and just. All
right. Let's see what Cuddy has said.
I'll listen to this when I'm doing yard work. It makes it go quicker. I start.
Hold on there.
Yeah.
Million ways to die. Choose one.
Choose one.
What am I trying to do? Try to test me. You want to test the rocket launcher? Well, let me tell you something. You're the original butcher. We have the chopper. Lord of mercy. Hear this. Wait them on. Wait them on. Take me did done. Wait them on. Who that a come? Wait them on. Who no think me did done? Me come fit and up. Say DJ go and go sit down. Tell them fi pack up and run. Me come fit and up. DJ go and go sit down. Me come fit and up. Tell them fi pack up and run now. Put up and come off of the ride. They have two stickers than the mine. Admiral come off of the left before me use the bomber and box it till the death. He's a great man. Him a send threat me electric chain. Me go shock him to death. Wait them on. Who that a come? Wait them on. Who no think me did done? Wait them on. Who that a come? Wait them on. Who no think me did done? Enough of them a pose and I say them a done. Only done me know a the one skeng man. That dead man him run the island. Hey foolish DJ you a look position. Go pussy na your brief in front of your man. Wait the man. Who that a come? Wait the man. Who no think me did done? Wait the man. Who that a come? Wait the man. Who no think me did done? Me come fit and up say DJ can go sit down. Me come fit.
Wheel again.
That's fantastic.
All right. I'm gonna say goodnight. I think you could select all day. I'm gonna have to bring you on the. Listen, I'm doing a festival online. It's coming up probably at the end of August. Johnny and I are going to be doing this Car Sessions Festival with a lot of bands. If you want to be a guest announcer or host, you're welcome to come jump in. Yeah?
I would love that. I think that'd be fantastic. Please keep me in the loop about it. Yeah.
For your Latino audience, can you say a little stuff for them out there that they know that you're real?
Bueno, saludos a todos los fanáticos latinos por todo el mundo. Gracias por el apoyo. Estoy pensando en todos de ustedes. Gracias por todo el amor y todo el apoyo durante los años. Y esperamos que, tú sabes, aquí en la industria vamos a reempezar y yo quiero seguir actuando y espero que ustedes, tú sabes, siguen viendo mi trabajo.
Okay, I don't know what you said, but I'm sure they love it. The last time I let a Spanish dude talk to my girl, because they Spanish, I'm like, he says, you mind if I speak to your girl with Spanish? I'm like, go ahead. He's like, da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, yeah, I'm smiling. We get outside. She says, he hit on me. I was like, what? Why you let me kick his ass? I would have kicked his ass. Oh,
that's how
this sounds so sweet though.
That's how I fooled my beautiful wife to take me seriously, to fall in love. That's how I fooled her. That's how I got her.
You spoke the Spanish?
That's it.
That's it, right? That's it.
It covers all the other deficiencies that I have.
Well, you rocking right now. You rocking, bro. You rocking.
You as well, and it's great to see you. All the best to you. All the best to everybody in New York, and much love to you. Stay safe, stay healthy, and all the best to you and your family. And
offline, right? I'm gonna take your information. I'm gonna send you a nice shirt, and totally for the little one, and maybe the other one can grow into.
Right. Okay. No worries. Just just find me. Just contact me. You know where I am.
No, I'm sending you information right now. I'm sending you. I'm gonna take down your info and boom, 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 boom. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna come back with a couple more minutes, and we're gonna play some tunes. I thank my esteemed guests. We didn't even talk film stuff, but
Next time.
yes, next time. This man, we appreciate your presence, man. And obviously John is going crazy over there. He's like, oh, where are you? Where's my ex-lord in the place? And we got a little bit of Spanish saying back to you, vaya muchas gracias. That is Monica.
Igualmente.
Okay, Monica, she's got kisses all over her face. She's very happy. The heartthrob is leaving the building, ladies. You can cut off the show now. Thank you, Juan. Thank you so much, man. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
All right, then. Be safe. Johnny Bravo, you still in the building? Johnny Bravo. Okay, I'm going to sign off, yeah? Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back in a couple of minutes, and I'll see you with some tunes. Peace.